piece at starting.
Thank y'all for coming out today. From the list of from the SPT-1113 list of topics about Hamlet, I chose topic number 18. This topic is the conversation between the king and courtiers Guildenstern and Rosencrantz in Act 3, Scene 3 of the play Hamlet. This scene may not seem that important, but is very significant in the tragedy of Hamlet. According to the play Hamlet, Prince of Denmark by William Shakespeare, this scene contains the characters King Claudius and his courtiers Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who were childhood friends of Hamlet. In this scene, the plot of the story is just beginning to come to a head. King Claudius is plotting his strategy now that he knows him and Hamlet are enemies. In this speech, I will explain what happens between King Claudius and his courtiers. The website Absolute Shakespeare says that this scene takes place in a castle, in the room in Elensor Castle, just after the crafty, condemning play that Hamlet had the actors perform. It is obvious that the king, in this play, the scene in this play, that the obvious king fears for his life, because he knows that Hamlet will want revenge. King Claudius is devising and expressing his plan to send Hamlet to England, while deceitfully explaining to Guildenstern and Rosencrantz that this is for Hamlet's benefit. The British Broadcasting Corporation's production of Hamlet, directed by Rodney Bennett, shows this scene with the king hurrying, obviously upset, and speaking to Guildenstern and Rosencrantz in a very perturbed and deliberate manner. Bennett's production shows King Claudius's facial expressions as very upset and ready to be done with Hamlet. You can also see in Bennett's production that King Claudius is in deep thought when he is not speaking. It seems as if his mind is having almost a battle. In Bennett's production, it is also very easy to see that Guildenstern and Rosencrantz have no character, and they stand for nothing. They seem to be spineless weaklings. The only thing that they seem to wish, is desire for the king's favor. According to the play script, Guildenstern responds to King Claudius's questionable reason and request for sending Hamlet to England with an unquestionable answer and zeal to please the king. It is interesting to see that the supposed childhood friends of Hamlet, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, are just turning their backs on him. According to the website Absolute Shakespeare, Guildenstern begins his pledge to do as the king asked. First, by saying that he will do this for the king because his subjects depend on him. Also, according to Absolute Shakespeare, Rosencrantz echoes this thought in support of Guildenstern's statement by likening the king to a massive wheel on top of a hill that affects the spokes that are on that wheel. In Bennett's production, King Claudius apparently in deep thought while Rosencrantz is speaking, although not on Rosencrantz's words, but it seems he is rather thinking remorsefully of his deeds. He suddenly tells Guildenstern and Rosencrantz to prepare for the trip to England as if he had just made his final decision. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, much like obedient dogs, leave his presence to carry out his wishes. This scene is a very important step in the plot of Hamlet. According to the script, it is the first scene after the play Mousetrap that Hamlet had done to catch the king. And this play basically told him that him and the king were enemies because the king had killed his father. He had a decision to make, but King Claudius had a decision to make here. He could have been remorseful and tried to right his wrongs after being virtually confronted by Hamlett, but instead he chose to cover his tracks and dispose of the one man that he thought could catch it. In summary, this scene takes place in a room in Elsinore Castle. King Claudius enters the room briskly. Guildenstern and Rosencrantz enter right behind him. And Guildenstern and Rosencrantz just soak up everything the king says, and they try to flatter the king, who is not really paying any attention to them anyways. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern had very little impact on this play and the outcome of it, even though they did most of the talking. King Claudius said the fewest words the whole scene, and the course of the play hinged on what he decided. I hope that you enjoyed my comments on Act 3, Scene 3 of this tragedy. Thank you.